I'm going to talk about one of the most powerful Firefox extensions you have ever seen in your life. And I know what most of you are thinking. Well, you made a video about UBlock Origin. Isn't that the most powerful? And it's like, yeah, that's cool too. But we're going to talk about NoScript. And I remember way back in the day, this was only supported on Firefox, but they now have a Chrome extension. So if you want to install NoScript for your Chromium-based browser, you too. Just a warning though, if you download the Chrome extension, you are downloading a crippled version of it because NoScript was designed to work for Firefox first. The developer actually has really close relationship to the Tor browser, which is why I'm using the Tor browser today, because NoScript is one of the very few Firefox add-ons which is pre-installed into the Tor browser. So NoScript has direct integration into the Tor browser, specifically through the Tor browser's security settings. And I alluded that I would get to this in a future video. So here we are. Let's do the YouTuber thing, give a quick read through of the website, because clearly that's the most exciting thing I can do while I get to the 10-minute mark for ad revenue. NoScript is a free and open source software providing extra protection for Firefox on Android 2 and Chrome, Edge, Brave, and other web browsers. Install NoScript now. It is a built-in key security component of the Tor browser and the top anonymity tool 20 millions, blah, 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 blah. This browser extension allows JavaScript and other potentially harmful content to be executed only on the websites of your choice, and also provides very powerful anti-XSS protection. And yes, this is one of the unique things that NoScript provides to the Tor browser that UBlock Origin does not. XSS protection, autoplay protection, and preemptive script blocking, right? And back in the day, before UBlock Origin even existed, NoScript was one of the most powerful extensions on the market. For many, it was actually the key reason why many people used Firefox, in the early days of like Google Chrome and whatever, right?
What is XSS and why do we need anti-protection to it?
Because XSS, the problem with XSS is someone can run custom remote web elements like remote JavaScript or whatever on your computer. What
Like a
fun.
Bitcoin miner or something?
Sure. What fun, right?
Probably not Bitcoin, but something minor on your system.
Something terrible. Right? And this is the beauty of NoScript. You can essentially get the ability to, now technically, if I go into about config here, I'm not recommending you do this, by the way. If you go into about config, you can just go into about config and disable JavaScript, right? You see this big, this big pretty JavaScript.enabled. You can disable that, but then that just flat out disables JavaScript everywhere. The benefit of using something like NoScript is you can manually turn this on and off between websites, right? And speaking of turning stuff on and off between websites, I'm going to talk about the Tor browser security settings, right? So if you go to the Tor, I'm in the Tor browser right now. So if you click on the shields icon, the Tor browser, you'll see here it says standard. If you click change, and then what you can do is you can actually change this setting to meet multiple settings. I covered this before, but like if you go over here, you can see it says right here, encrypted JavaScript is disabled on non-HTTPS websites, and then safest, which disables JavaScript just flat out everywhere. Right? And also disable some core functionality. And each of these security settings that in the Tor browser are all presets for NoScript, right? So that normal people don't actually need to know how to configure at least some of the basics of NoScript, right? But you'll probably wonder, well, how do you configure NoScript in the Tor browser if you can't actually configure anything beyond these three settings, right? And the answer is actually quite easy, right? So if I I'm hopping back to the page right here, right? So if you go to your taskbar, right? So if you click on this little menu right here, so click on just a blank space, you probably have one, right? And then click on this part right here, which says customize toolbar, and then look for this icon here, which says NoScript, and then just pick it up with your mouse, and you can drag this over to either the overflow menu here or to the bar. I usually add it to the bar just so I have it readily available, right? And you can close it. And you'll notice here that because I'm in the safest mode, right, NoScript actually has this little this little crossed out symbol with the worm, right? That's NoScript's whole shtick, right? And what this does is
worms.
What this does is this allows you to block JavaScript, right? So here I have, I actually preloaded this. This is Ars Technica, right? And you'll actually notice when you run the Tor browser, remember if you're running So remember, if you're running the Tor browser in the safest mode, right, you'll see right here that I'm running the Tor browser in the safest mode, right? There's no JavaScript is actually allowed to run, right? And then when I click on NoScript, right, it'll show here that 10 items have been blocked. So this means that all of these websites. So remember, kids, when you connect to one website, you're not just connecting to one website, you're connecting to 10 websites, at least when you visit Ars Technica. And I'm just showing this in the most extreme mode so you get the idea. When you use the Tor browser in any of its lower security settings, you're not going to probably even notice that NoScript is even running. Because, like, especially in the scenario of when you run safer mode, like safer mode in particular, so many websites just use HTTPS these days. Like, it's kind of not really relevant anymore. So what do you do with websites? So in the case of Ars Technica, right, I can still browse articles or whatever, and look, I can look at Zuckerberg making his same reptilian face that he always makes when he shows up on camera, right? Um, so you'll notice here that there's probably something supposed to be in the sidebar here, and I can't actually see it, right? And you'll notice that there's this big empty gray box at the top, and I can't see anything, and there's probably supposed to be something there, but I can't actually see it. And then you'll also notice that there's this, the hamburger menu here, but I'm actually clicking on the hamburger menu and nothing's going down. Right? And this is where, like, especially when you're trying to browse categories, this is the case of our site, you click on the hamburger menu if you want to browse, like, I don't know, like science or something.
So say I'm frustrated. I trust Ars Technica and I don't care if they run stuff and I want to use my hamburger menu. How do I do that without turning it off everywhere else?
Timmy, I'm glad you asked. All you have to do is click on the NoScript icon. And then what you want to do is you want to go into this button right here. It says override the Tor browser security level preset. Now I will warn you, this will actually unlock NoScript controls for you. If you're using Chrome or Firefox, these preferences will be saved even if you close your browser. But if you close the Tor browser, all of your NoScript preferences will be deleted. Yes, even if you use one of the permanent settings here. So even if you, like, click trusted or whatever, they're going to get deleted when you close the Tor browser, right? So I would
Is
just...
there
What?
any way to fix that?
Yes. So if you want to save your preferences, click on it's the third button over here. It just says options. If you just click on that, right, and you can actually export your NoScript preferences, right? So every time you would open the Tor browser, you can also import your preferences, right? And what this will do is this will actually export your data into a text file, right? So what you can do is you can save this text file, right? And right here, I actually have this labeled as just NoScript data, right? And then what you can do is you can actually import this file, and then you can import this file back in with all of your preferences. The reason why the Tor browser removes all of your preferences is because the changes that you make to NoScript can be used to fingerprint you, right? Now, for most people, is that really a threat? Probably not, especially if you're running the safest mode. But it is still something to be aware of. The reason why the Tor browser does not save these preferences is because if you continuously use this kind of behavior, it can be used to fingerprint you, right? As opposed to people who are just using, the normal safest, safer, or safe or like unsafe mode of the Tor browser, right? Like people would
So
expect.
my other question is if you click on the NoScript button and you go into the top and you look at the top right, what are those four icons do?
So these
What
four
do
icons here are, if you want to disable NoScript altogether. Now, in the case of the Tor browser, don't recommend doing this. This is really more for Firefox or Chrome users, right? And then this would disable NoScript like everywhere, like on every website. It's the equivalent. Think of this like your off button, right? It's this big thing right here. It's an off button, right? And then this thing right here, this would only disable. This is what's really cool and why I said if you use Chrome, you're getting an inferior version of it. If you click on this button right here where it says disable restrictions for this tab, what this does is this separates this tab will get all of its JavaScript whitelisted, but every other tab doesn't, right? And that's something unique to the Firefox extension you won't get in the Chrome one.
Is that because of temporary containers?
No, there's no containers. This is made in an era before containers. That's what makes it so special. And then this is also temporarily set everything on this page to temporarily trusted. So this instantly will just, same sort of deal as a tab, but it does it for everything in like the domain arstechnica.com, right? And then if you want to revoke that trust, which is given from either of these buttons, with the exception being, you know, the big S exclamation point off button, right? You'll notice that it just manually temporarily trusted everything here, right? You can actually go here, right, where it says revoke temporary permissions, and this will revoke all of these temporary permissions, right? So you click that button again, and everything's blocked all over again, right? So I want
This,
to,
at least in general, seems more straightforward to use than uBlock.
well, not exactly. This is where we're gonna get into some of the more messy stuff. I mean, there are some parts of it which allow more customizability than uBlock Origin, but there are also some parts of it which don't. We'll sort of show what that looks like, right? So here on Ars Technica, right? Let's go back to the pull down menu example, right? I'm clicking on the pull down menu. You'll see this with this little hashtag pound symbol here. You can click on the thing, and the site menu actually isn't loading, right? Because the site menu runs on JavaScript, right? And honestly, I don't care. It's just a menu. Ars Technica already knows I'm here. I trust Ars Technica. I want to enable the menu. What do I do? So again, like you sort of need to have this mentality. I need to issue a disclaimer, right? You need to sort of have this mentality when you go into all this. You need to go in and sort of absorb, you know, the internet and say like, even if you don't understand like everything, it's you need to go in and say like sort of experiment with things and also do some research and understand, hey, how does the internet actually function, right? And maybe use some common sense here, right? So let me show you what this looks like. So here we have arstechnica.com, right? And we'll show what you can do with these buttons here, right? So I showed this before with the set all the temporary trusted, right? That's what this button does. You can set an individual site to be temporarily trusted, right? So temporarily trusted, if you're on Chrome or Firefox, this would only temporarily do it. And then the one that's directly next to it, you'll see there's a little clock icon next to it. But the one without the clock icon is permanently trusted, and that would retain between sessions. On the Tor browser, doesn't do anything, don't matter, right? And then you see here where it says untrusted, right? What this does is this sets something to be untrusted and it sets it to be blocked, right? And these are all just based on presets, right? So this is at least in the safer mode of the Tor browser, right? The presets are to block all JavaScript, but it still allows things like iframes, which are like websites within websites. The difference is just because of how NoScript functions, it just sets them all as click to play, right? So if like you have an embedded YouTube video or a player, it's just set to click to play, right? And then under trusted, right, you'll see that it just allows pretty much everything. The only thing it doesn't allow is ping, unrestricted CSS, and access to your local LAN network. Yes, did you know websites can request access to your local LAN network? I'm looking at you, Dropbox. All right. And you can also do untrusted, which would basically just block everything except unmitigated frames, right? And sometimes when you use NoScript, you also notice these big, hideous NoScript icons, which usually means something was blocked in that area, or if you need to autoplay video, it blocked autoplaying video or whatever, right? So let's hop back here. Remember, Arsenka is trusted, right? So I'm going to set it as trusted. I trust arsenka.com. I know what I'm doing, right? And then let's just keep going, and then just sort of work your way down the line and try to make your better judgment of whether you feel like something needs to be trusted or not. For example, the next one, AmazonAdServices.com. Amazon has their own ad network. Disgusting. Get out of here. You have no business doing
Wait,
anything on my website.
Amazon has ads?
Yes, they have ads.
Wow.
What they won't advertise though is their CEO doesn't their former CEO doesn't know how to blink. Okay. Then we
He was
have
trained.
ArsTechnica.net. Again, I'm pretty sure, you know, Ars Technica knows I'm here. Fine, whatever. I'll enable that. You'll also notice how the padlocks are different, right? So this red padlock, right, is this matches all content, but if you click on this padlock, and you'll see how it turns black from black to red, right? If it's red, what this does is this allows content from anywhere, but if you have this icon as black, what this does is this only allows content from HTTPS versions of this thing, because sometimes when you run this on people's websites, HTTPS, or at least some people's implementation of HTTPS, is not perfect. It doesn't quite work all the time, right? So just be aware of, you know, clicking on this thing, knowing why the padlock is a different color, right? Generally, for safety reasons, you want black to always be the one. But if you are on a website, or you need, you know, something to work, then maybe try checking the padlock. And then let's take a look at all this other stuff, right? So Amazon ad systems. I don't trust you, Amazon. Your CEO is a reptile. Yeah, we'll just click the. Wait, no, he's not reptile. He's like, what is he? A trained skinned android? Whatever. Then we have cookielaw.org. I hate those. And I'm only telling you this because I know this, okay? All those stupid GDPR. And who doesn't like? Who loves those GDPR cookie banners? Not me. Get out of here. Blocked. Uh, Google Tag Manager. I love Google. I love Google. Google is my favorite company. I would never do anything horrible to Google, never. And then we also have Index WW ads. Get out of here. Media Voice. Here's my vote. Get out of here. Moat ads. Get out of here. Skim resources. Skim this. Get out of here. And then we'll give the page a good old. And then once you click off of the pop-up, the page will be given a good old refresh. And as per usual with most things in the Tor browser, it takes 10 million years. But when you actually load in, and I click on the menu, look at that, I get the same the pop-up menu again. Right? And then I can get my dark theme, because you should always be using dark theme, because if you use light theme, you're a degenerate who needs to get help, and maybe an OLED screen. Right? And then you'll notice that when I loaded this, there's even more JavaScript running, because when you load one website, you're not just loading one website, you're loading 9 different websites. I love the internet. And you'll also notice that if something's untrusted, it just turns red, because red is bad. That's what we've all been trained. Get red is bad. I don't know, let's just get out of here. Right? And you just sort of like treat this like a big game of whack-a-mole. It's not quite as easy as using UBlock Origin's advanced user mode, but when you're using the Tor browser, that's critical to understand, or if you have this installed on Firefox or Chrome, it's critical to understand what you're doing when you actually run any of this. And the one thing that I do want to comment is, at least in the case of Ars Technica, right? If you click on this icon at the very end, I didn't cover this. So you click on the icon at the very end, you actually get a little in-depth view of everything that Ars Technica is actually using here, right? And you can sort of make your better judgment with the custom tab whether or not you feel like Ars Technica should be allowed to do certain things, for example, right? So I need scripts in order for Ars Technica's, like, you know, the point and click menu here to function, right? I actually need scripts for that, right? So I think I need that for Ars Technica, right? We got objects and media and frames, and these objects and media is usually pretty innocent, because that's for things like pictures and whatnot, right? Or even like, you know, like div elements and like HTML, right? It's usually pretty innocent. And then frames is usually like embedded video, fine, whatever. Fonts, you know, I mean, you know, fonts are fonts. You disable this, websites, it might look a little more ugly, right? WebGL, I'm not seeing any WebGL here. Generally, one thing you could do is you could disable WebGL, because WebGL is a common vector for a lot of cross JavaScripting attacks. I mean, NoScript has protection against it, but generally you kind of want to avoid enabling WebGL, using WebGL whenever you can. I know some people can't avoid it. I mentioned in a previous video, 23andMe sometimes will give you issues if you can't use WebGL. I also know that Squarespace websites will give you issues if you don't have WebGL enabled. Okay, so I've gotten too good at this. And then fetch elements, right? So this is where it's probably getting, Arsenko is probably getting its live content, for example, right? And then if you click off again, it gives it the good old refresh. And now Arsenko is the same, but it's just not allowed to run, you know, it's not allowed to run WebGL elements, right? Oh look, it's loading more ads. I love news websites.
So here's a question that I have. The Tor browser is supposed to make you anonymous, at least somewhat. How anonymous are you actually with the Tor browser?
Oh, as the best you possibly can be in the modern day and age, right? All those stupid VPN companies telling people, "Oh, you can, well, we offer you security." They're lying to you. We offer you privacy, the privacy from your internet service provider, maybe, but not from you. Um, what, and the worst one of all, anonymity. VPNs and proxies will never be able to offer you anonymity, because
So
it just doesn't work that way.
So as a TLDR, what setting should I have by default? As okay, I'm not going to think too much about this. What should I click and what should be enabled?
I can't make decisions for you. What are you, a baby? Make your
Yes,
decisions
yes, I'm
yourself.
a baby. Make my decisions for me. Tell me what to do.
Make your decision yourself. You'll know if this is the right, if this is the right approach you want to do or not. If you want to be as safe as you possibly can, you're going to just use NoScript like this. You have to manually enable scripts on every single website you visit. Yes, when I go to, crappy websites like BuzzFeed.com, right? I don't want to allow all this JavaScript because I just want to read why people are sharing red flags, why this restaurant's going to be bad in some way, right? I don't
So,
care about like all this junk that gets loaded to the top right here. Yeah, the website looks horrendous, but at least I can read the articles and look at all of the pictures.
so as a general rule of
But
thumb, if you
if you
want to be
really need to tone this down, that's what Tor browser security settings are for, right? And I'm sorry if you're on Firefox and Chrome, you're not going to get access to these. If you're on Firefox and Chrome, you're just going to have to get used to using it the safer way. And I think this is what is the reason why NoScript has lost popularity over the years. NoScript has lost popularity because of tools like uBlock Origin, but uBlock Origin still doesn't offer the same kind of level of integration that NoScript has had in the Tor browser for years, right? And uBlock Origin in particular is just not as good or as minimal as NoScript has been, right? Well,
so
that's
as
disgusting.
a general rule of thumb, if you want to be the safest that you could be, you should start at the safest setting and
Or if you're
then
on
move back from
Firefox or
there.
Chrome and not the Tor browser, you're going to be forced to use the safest mode regardless of whether you want to or not, because that's the default, right?
Um,
By default, JavaScript is blocked on all websites in NoScript. The Tor browser just happens to make changes so that when you use the standard mode of the Tor browser, right, JavaScript is just automatically allowed everywhere. And you'll see here now when I load the full website, all these fonts are allowed. These stupid cookie banners come back. Ads are running in the background, as you'd expect. And as per usual, 20 websites are loading in when I open a website,
yay.
right? Because that's the world we live in. Now, if you want to, like, could actually, believe the tagline here, own your own browser. Look, he even made the text highlightable. If you want to own your own browser, you use the safest mode and disable everything by default because only you know whether you want to use something or not. You know what? Maybe I want to enable JavaScript on Buzz. I want to go into the safest mode, right? And I want to enable trusted on BuzzFeed just so I can use I don't know, the stupid pull down menu here that's actually invisible, or buy something from them. Okay, I don't recommend buying anything on the Tor browser unless that's from fiat currency, but whatever. Uh, it's still the website is still it looks horrendous, but it's still functional, right? Because I know this is what works best for me. I don't need all this. Like, I probably wouldn't even trust BuzzFeed, to be honest. Like, it's just I don't need all of this crap when I'm just reading a web page, right? I don't need
Goes
when
to
I visit stupid websites like the Boston Globe or the New York Times or the Chicago Tribune. I don't need to be drowned in stupid, like, cookie banners and like paywalls, whatever. Look, it's not even loading. I love the internet. Uh, you go
goes
to
to BuzzFeed.com, blocks BuzzFeed.com.
you can't block the website that you're visiting. You can just mitigate what they're doing to you, right? Look, I can't see the pictures, right? But if I enable the pictures, what's going to happen is the Chicago Tribune is going to try to paywall me out of their articles. And the only way to avoid the Chicago Tribune's paywall is to use Tor and then just look around their stupid articles because JavaScript's disabled and they can't actually track if you read their articles or not, right? That's because that is how you read news in the modern day and age. And yes, even if you go to something complex like twitch.tv, look at all of these crummy websites which are loading in to the thing. It's like, use your better judgment here, right? So let's talk about the research, right? Like, to use tools like this, you have to understand like some of the back ends of the internet to understand what's going on here, right? So let's look at this more carefully, right? And it does require a little bit of, knowledge outside. And I'm sorry, but this is just how the internet works. This is all happening behind your back, and people need to be more aware of this, right? So let's let's use our better judgment. Let's put on our brain caps and figure this out. All right, Twitch.tv, right? I'm playing video. I want to use the search bar. I want Twitch.tv to use JavaScript, right? Amazon ads. No, I don't want Amazon ads. Cloudfront.net. Little tidbit, guys. Any random string of numbers and letters followed by .cloudfront.net is an Amazon thing that needs to run JavaScript or media. You're going to need to allow it. At least for stuff that requires it. Not all the time, but sometimes. ext.twitch.tv. It's twitch.tv. I'll allow it. As the DM, I'll allow it. Google Analytics. No, I love Google Analytics. I just happen to not trust it that much. IMRworldwide.com. Nope. Livevideo.net. I actually don't know what this is. Scorecard Research. I love Google's ad network. I just happen to trust it less than some people. Sentry.io. No. Serving.sit. No. No. I don't want sound alerts. I hate notifications. Okay. TTV, what's this? TTVNW? It's a Twitch thing. Enable it. TwitchCDN.net. Enable it. Boom. Reload. Come on. Reload, please. Oh, it's probably just loading more crap. Oops. Well, if you double click it, it opens. Well, a little tidbit. If you double click the thing here, it opens in a pop up window. Like, whatever.
Yay, I love pop up windows.
But as you can see, I opened the thing. And look at that. We got a good old, look at that. I can watch a Twitch stream and I got all the things going. Well, it's still running because it's in Tor. It's running at potato quality at like 360p and it stutters every few seconds. But what? Hey, look, it works.
Also, your ping time is crazy, but it works.
And that's what happens when you can use the safest mode while understanding how to use NoScript. And this was not staged or anything. I was just told to visit this webpage. Oh, look, it's buffering already. But that's how you use NoScript. That's all you need to know, kids.
160p.
Oh, there we go.
We
that's
need
all you need to know.
More potato quality.
That's all you need to use, kids. Go out there and learn how to use NoScript. And if you really want a great crash course on, or a way to get started with NoScript, go try using the Tor browser. It's pre-installed. You don't have to do anything. It's not. You can't even get rid of it anyway because it's part of the Tor browser. So, why not use the Tor browser? Just figure out how to use it, right? And and it's been around for years. You know it works, and it's just a tool that has been trusted by experts all around the world. So go use NoScript, right? There's a reason why the Tor browser packages it. Leave a comment down below if you blocked all JavaScript on YouTube.com. Actually, don't do that. If you block all JavaScript on YouTube.com, you won't be able to do anything. So maybe don't do that. Again, you gotta use your better judgment. Right?
Well, to be fair, they may have attempted to make a comment, but they would have not been able to make the comment.
And if you subscribe, right? So we'll see you all later. Enjoy NoScript. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, bye.